Bitcoin halving is ahead of us in just a few days. Will we experience the supply shock by limited amount of Bitcoin on exchanges? How will this affect the Bitcoin price in the upcoming year and how bullish this event is? Stay tuned and we'll address that in this video. Hello everyone, I'm Željko and welcome to CryptoGrid channel. If you're not subscribed, please consider subscribing since around 80% of the people that are watching the channel are not subscribed yet, and this shows me your support and I appreciate if you're liking the video, commenting or subscribing, so thank you. So we can see that we are just a few days from the halving, and one thing that I wanted to show you is, for example, if you look on this chart, we can see the issuance rate currently for Bitcoin. It was like 1.69%. By this halving, we are reducing to 0.83%. So why I'm saying that is because, like, if you look at previous halving, this change was way more dramatic. For example, if you see here, we decreased from like 33% to 12%. If you look here, we decreased from like 9.09 to 4.17%. And the issuance rate of Bitcoin is already too low, and you can see that like now each year there is like less than 1% that is released in circulation, and in comparison to the demand that is created, for example, if you look just at Bitcoin, spot Bitcoin ETF, you can see that there is like 4.26 of current Bitcoin supply in the ETFs, which is like the issuance rate of like 5 years. And as you can see, this is like consistently increasing over time. And the most important thing is that the inflow of Bitcoin into ETFs is like higher than the outflows. And this is the reason why people even speculate if we're gonna see a supply shock or not. But one thing to notice is that, like, the first thing is that once the Bitcoin halving happens, like, that doesn't transfer into the price immediately, since you have like lower issuance for a while, and like that takes a while to actually takes effect, and that actually see that there is less BTC and less people that are selling. And I think that, like, as the time is going on, so for example, if you look in the charts, and if you look the halving before the last one, we can see that we had like small pullback, then the price started increasing rapidly. In the last Bitcoin halving, we have some kind of small accumulation phase before we started rallying up. And in my opinion, I expect that accumulation phase to extend from market cycle to market cycle. And yeah, now we can see that the Bitcoin is stronger just by reaching previous all-time high before the halving. And like some people are speaking how we might have triple top, I don't believe into that. It might take a while to break that triple top, but I don't expect any major pullbacks. Maybe to 60k or 50k, for example, like this level or this level. But like everything below that would probably be a lifetime opportunity and some level that we might never reach in the future. If you check, for example, like 3 days stochastic RSI, it's often something that Bitcoin price respects, and like usually when the 3-day RSI is at bottom, that was the good moment to buy. So I expect like good moment to buy just after the halving. If you look, for example, this area, this area, this area, this area, when we were actually at the bottom. So it's something that I like to follow. Another thing, I like these two things to go together, that like 12 hours is at the bottom and 3 days at the bottom. This is maybe a weird thing to look for, but for example, if you look at predicted funding rate, like this was the first negative day after a while, and usually like the negative funding rate suggested that it's actually a good moment to buy. As you can see, for example, here when we were like in a lower ranges, we had multiple negative funding rate days, and these were usually, for example, like the longer the negative funding rate, especially if the open interest is increasing, this usually suggests that we're gonna have a surge in price in the soon future. So this is just one negative rate after the funding rate resetted from this area in the March. But if we see a continuation of these negative funding rates, this is by the way coinallies.net website, that would be a really positive sign for the Bitcoin in the longer run, in my opinion. Another thing that is interesting to notice is that usually, like after the halving, it took around 18 months to reach the previous all-time high. If we count that we had double top, it was like 11 months for the first top, and now that time might shorten. It will obviously take time to see that, but I expect us to have like either more sideways, or we will have much smaller, like diminished losses to the previous market cycles. I don't expect us to have a like 80% pullback or something like that, but I don't expect us, like as you can see here, for example, from like 20k to 68k, we increased around 250%. We should have diminished returns on that, so like 2.5x would be at around 160, 170k. I expect that peak to be smaller. I might be wrong, but this is something that's logical for me. Also, for this decreased supply, that will probably be the reason why we're gonna have a smaller pullback than we experienced previously. Interesting thing to notice is if you look at the Bitcoin dominance, now we are pretty much reaching all-time high at like 55%. And if we compare now this area at which we are sitting in currently, that would be probably similar to this area in the previous bull market. So at one moment, I expect us like to have some small pullback, and that people, because a lot of people are wondering when we're gonna have altcoin season. I think the altcoin season will be different, and then that we won't have transition from like Bitcoin to Ethereum to bigger alts, then to smaller alts. Now, as we can see, things are evolving differently, and a lot of people are already thinking that if they are investing into the meme coins on the underlying chain, that it gives them bigger potential returns in comparison to investing in that layer one solution, for example. And I wonder if that's gonna be true, or like this meme narrative will completely disappear. It's something that we have to see. I still have small allocation in some meme coins, but I wouldn't overinvest into it. So as you can see, for example, we are waiting for this moment when altcoin dominance will start increasing and Bitcoin dominance will decrease, but obviously we are not there yet. You can see that the stablecoin dominance is also decreasing. While if we actually go to stable coins, we can see that the total supply of stable coins is increasing, which is looking healthy. In the last few days, we had a small pullback in some of them, which is not a good thing to see. You usually want to see that this is consistently expanding, and that's usually a bullish sign for the markets. So for me, I'm still not highly investing in that range. I'll probably wait us to get to this 60k range, and that's when I'll start accumulating more aggressively. I doubt that we're gonna fall below that, but if we do, that's just a better opportunity to accumulate more assets at 50k. Below that, I really doubt that there are any chances to go below it. I might be wrong, but I don't expect it. Like the faster the crash comes, I think that's like better, and that's more bullish because we just take the liquidity and eliminate these longs that are aggressively positioned with high leverage. Usually, like if we would get to 50k, that would be around, I don't know, like 25% pullback, which would eliminate everyone that is like more than like 4x longing or something in that range. And a lot of people are doing like these things with their whole portfolio. So yeah, Bitcoin halving is bullish. but I don't think from the technical perspective is that bullish as people are speaking of, just because like the supply decrease is around like 0.8%, which is like already not a lot, and like what will determine the price much more is actually the demand that is created from retail, from ETFs, and pretty much that's determining factor. Like when you have issuance rate of like 10-20%, you really need a much higher like inflow of capital and more demand to combat that. But when you have like 0.8% issuance rate, that's honestly nothing if you ask me. So anyway, I hope that you like the video. Please consider subscribing. Thank you for watching the video until then. Stay strong and healthy. Bye.